Coming off of that brutal 4-game set against Baltimore, the Yankees needed to make a statement at the stadium, and boy did they do just that. What's going on, guys? It's the King of 161st Street. I'm back with another video, and this series did not start off pretty. That game 1 was brutal for 8.5 innings. First of all, good start from Marcus Stroman, but amazing work out of the bullpen. This bullpen is the best bullpen in baseball. The ERA says it. Just overall, this bullpen has done a tremendous job. Clay Holmes only having one blown save, not one single earned run scored against him. He has been absolutely on fire, even when some of these guys are a little off, like Ian Hamilton has at times this year. They still find a way. And game 1, Ian Hamilton came in after Stroman gave up 3 straight walks to take himself out of the game. That scored the Tigers' only run. Ian Hamilton was there to save the day with 1 out, was able to get 2 outs, get out of that inning, work through it, and get us to the 9th inning, where it started off really hot because Aaron Judge comes up first, struggling, especially off of that Baltimore series. He had a terrible series. So far in this game, it was terrible. He laces a single up the middle to help us get a base runner, hopefully be able to mount something. Verdugo comes up, and this is something I want to talk about. With the amount of double plays this team has hit into, I am totally for doing this more often. He lays down a bunt with no outs and a man on first. This is beautiful game plan, because even if you get out, you're not grounding into a double play. You are not ruining the inning. We have grounded into so many double plays that we are on pace to have the most double plays of all time. That's scary. Doing this takes that completely out of the picture. Of course, there are certain ways a bunt could screw up. Mostly, a bunt would take that out of the equation. Do you do it every time? Maybe not. But this was a very smart decision by Alex Verdugo. Probably wasn't seeing the pitcher very well. Just said, you know what? That third baseman is playing so far back that I could just drop this down. If I get one that's even half decent, because this one was pretty hard hit. You don't usually want to do that on a bunt. You usually want to do it soft. He had a pretty hard hit bunt, so it wasn't the best bunt in the world. Because of where the defense was positioned, it worked out to where he was able to get on at that point, and then the floodgates started to open. Giancarlo Stanton takes a pitch middle out and hits it where it came from. It was away. He hits it the other way down the right field line for a double. That scores Judge, and Rizzo caps it off with the infield in. We're asking, where the hell was this offense the entire game? And I mean, Reese Olson is a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. He's young, but he's a good pitcher. But we should have been able to do more in that game. That game really opened the floodgates for this offense. And it opened the floodgates for one, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, for the rest of the series, was able to drive the ball. He was able to get clutch singles. He hit a homer in today's game. He was doing amazing stuff after that game 1. Now, the main thing with Aaron Judge this year is consistency. And he's been consistent enough to where now he's finally off the interstate in the 220s in his batting average. He had another home run that puts him to 8 on the year. We're going to hope that this is a turnaround, because I thought the Milwaukee series would have been a turnaround for him. But then he went to Baltimore and he shit the bed. So it seems right now that he's series on, series off, series on. We need a couple series on. Overall, great performance this series out of Aaron Judge. That ejection he got, that umpire really had planned that night, because that strike zone went from normal to expanded a little bit to, I want to get the fuck out of here. He wanted to leave bad, and those calls were starting to get atrocious. Aaron Judge's strike call was not the most ridiculous I have ever seen. It was a borderline pitch, but at that point, It was an accumulation of that entire game. And what Aaron Judge said, look, John Boy has the video up. You could see it. It's not bad. It's not that bad. He just turns around and said, you've been bullshit all day. And then turned to go back to his dugout. And they ejected him for the first ejection of Aaron Judge's career. It was soft. These umpires nowadays, I don't know if they feel a sense of entitlement. I don't know if they're just softer. I'm not sure. But in every sport, officiating has become so soft to where any slight thing you do where you look aggravated at an official can get you kicked out the game, get a flagrant foul, can get you punished, which it seems like they want to be the star. They think they're the main character. No, this game can go on without you. You are not the main character. Stop acting like it. Anyways, another player that stepped up in this series, Juan fucking Soto, steps up in that third game, decides, you know what? I'm going to put this team on my back. Ian Hamilton shit the bed in the last half inning, coming in for Nestor Cortez. He decides with the bases loaded, you know what? I'm going to do it. Double down the right field line, scores 3. The Tigers put 1 back on the board, but that became the final as the rain started to affect the field a lot. This series was an amazing series for the New York Yankees. And we go up against Houston, who, contrary to past years, this year, Houston fucking blows. We have to try and do the same thing we did in this series against Houston again, because they are 10 games under 500. Their bullpen is bad. Their starting rotation isn't great. They still got an offense. They're still got guys. Jose Altuve is still playing like that guy. Kyle Tucker is still that guy. Yordan Alvarez is still one of the scariest hitters I've ever seen in my lifetime. But this is a winnable series, and a series we could sweep again. Would be amazing for a bounce back after the 4-game series loss against Baltimore. To bounce back with 6 straight wins would be huge. Going forward, I want to talk about this. A lot of people seem to be very hung up on just straight numbers and not impact when it comes to the New York Yankees. And I'm specifically talking about Clarke Schmidt. That game 2, he should have been able to go longer. Most games he started this year, he should have been able to go longer. He is barely able to get through 5 innings. It is starting to become a problem because he is forcing the bullpen to make 12 outs instead of 9 outs, at least, because sometimes he doesn't get out of the 4th inning or doesn't get out of the 5th inning. And now you're sitting here and you need to get 12, maybe up to 15 outs out of the bullpen. And we're talking about taxing a bullpen. That's something that can tax the bullpen. Even younger guys on this rotation, like Luis Gil, have proven they could go into the 6th. They could even go into the 7th if they needed to. Marcus Stroman has shown it. Even Carlos Rodon. The one guy who hasn't shown it is Clarke Schmidt. Why do I bring this up? He belongs in the bullpen. He is a bullpen arm and succeeds there. I'm not saying I don't like Clarke Schmidt or Clarke Schmidt stuff. His stuff has improved dramatically from the first time I saw him, and I have kind of changed my tune on whether or not I like Clarke Schmidt. I do like the way Clarke Schmidt pitches. I like the way he pitches the first time through the order. And when you're coming out of the bullpen, usually you're facing guys once, at maximum twice. That's when Clarke Schmidt is at his best. Yes, he's had a numerous amount of starts in a row where he's given up 3 runs or less. It doesn't matter when you're putting that much pressure on your bullpen. The bullpen is going to not have your back on some nights. You have to be able to extend. You have to be able to give your bullpen a break. And if every 5th day we know we have to get 12 to 15 outs, well, that also puts pressures on the other starters to try and go even longer than they can, because you're always going to leave it just a bit short. If Clarke Schmidt goes to the bullpen, now you can take one of our younger guys, maybe a Tonkin, maybe take him out of the bullpen, put a more talented guy in there like Clarke Schmidt, and now this bullpen is unwithable. They're already the best bullpen in baseball. Adding Clarke Schmidt is only going to benefit the bullpen, and it's going to benefit the rotation once Garrett Cole gets back. because he will be the guy that if maybe a Luis Gil decides he's going to have 5 walks in a game, or Marcus Stroman doesn't fulfill his 6 innings that he usually gets, he can go multiple innings. That's valuable to a bullpen. They'll have 2 guys like that then. They'll have Luke Weaver and they'll have Clarke Schmidt. That is super valuable, especially come postseason time. Because let's say in the postseason, a guy like Nestor Cortez gets roughed up a little bit. 3 runs. He's out of there in 3 2/3. Well, if you have a bullpen that only has 1 guy that could extend innings, you still have to get 18 outs. Clarke Schmidt is a good pitcher. None of this is trying to say he is a bad pitcher. But his numbers are so much worse going through the 3rd time in the order. They drop precipitously. That's a fact. Yes, he doesn't give up many runs because he's not out there enough to do it. You see him when he gets to that 5th inning, he gets to that 6th inning, he gets through the 3rd time through the order, crumble the minute that leadoff batter comes back up. If he's in the bullpen, his stuff will be able to last because he's only facing a team 1 time. I just see too many people just looking very short-sightedly at this. I was in an argument yesterday about it where 3 runs or less in most of his starts. Very good at keeping that number low, but that's also a product of Aaron Boone saving him from himself because he just can't do it. Aaron Boone has tried to keep him in there. Yeah, he'll get a walk. Okay, keep him in there. See if we could give him that confidence. He just hasn't been able to do it. Stuff and that weakness is perfect to throw in the bullpen. And this rotation will benefit from it, and the bullpen will benefit from it. This will only benefit the New York Yankees. But that is it for me. Hopefully we could get a sweep against Houston coming up. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. If you're new here, hit that sub button. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.